Alex Carter sat in the pilot seat of his ship. The stars outside the window looked calm, but something about the mission felt strange. He had been sent to check a signal that came from a dead zone in space. It was not near any known planet or station. The signal had no clear message, just a steady pulse that never stopped.
Alex
Was young, but skilled. He had flown many missions before, but this one was different. As he got closer to the signal, his ship started shaking. The lights flickered, and a loud alarm beeped. Before he could react, a strong force pulled the ship off course. He tried to steer, but the controls stopped working. His ship crashed into something hard and metal. The impact knocked him out. When Alex woke up, everything was quiet. The ship was damaged, but still holding air. He grabbed his helmet and stepped out. He was inside a large alien structure. The walls were dark silver with glowing lines. It looked very old. Alex walked slowly, checking every corner. The place felt empty. He found signs in a strange language, but the tech in his suit helped translate them. He was on an old alien station. It had been floating in space for a long time. As he explored, he found a large door with symbols he had never seen before. The door opened on its own. Inside was a glass chamber with a figure inside. It was a woman. Her skin was pale with a soft glow. She had long, dark hair and wore clothes made of fine silver and blue fabric. She looked asleep. Suddenly, the glass cracked and hissed. The chamber opened, and the woman fell into Alex's arms. Her eyes opened slowly. She looked confused and weak. She said something, but he did not understand. The translator in his suit worked fast. Her name was Lyra. She was from a race that had not been seen for centuries. She was an alien princess. She had been in stasis for a long time. Lyra looked around and asked where she was. Alex told her about the crash and the station. She tried to stand, but fell. He helped her walk to a safer room. She asked about the war. Alex told her the war had ended long ago. Her eyes filled with sadness. The station made a loud sound. A red light flashed on the walls. The structure was breaking down. Alex knew they had to leave soon. He searched for an escape route. Lyra followed him, still weak, but trying to stay strong. They found an old map and a path to a docking bay. If they were lucky, there might be a working ship. As they moved, strange sounds echoed in the halls. They were not alone. Machines hidden deep in the station had started to move. Old security bots activated. They were not friendly. Alex pulled out his small weapon. Lyra used her hands to guide light energy to block a path. Together, they ran, dodging sparks and falling metal. The docking bay was close, but time was running out. They reached the bay and found an old shuttle. It looked damaged but fixable. Alex started repairs while Lyra kept watch. She had never trusted a human before, but Alex was different. He was kind and brave. The station shook again. Another blast pushed the shuttle off the ground. Alex yelled over the noise that they had to move fast. Lyra helped him with the tools, using her old training. As the lights flickered and metal fell from the ceiling, the two worked side by side. They were strangers from different worlds, but both wanted to survive. Outside the station, stars moved slowly. Inside, two lives were about to change forever. Alex and Lyra stayed near the old shuttle. The station around them was shaking more each hour. Alex checked the ship's systems again. Most parts were broken, but the core engine still had power. He believed they could fix it with time. Lyra sat on the floor, her hands resting on her knees. She looked at Alex and asked about his world. He told her about Earth, its oceans, its cities, and the people who lived there. Lyra listened with interest. Her eyes showed sadness when she talked about her home. Her planet had been destroyed in a war long ago. She had been placed in stasis to save her life, and the more they talked, the more they trusted each other. Lyra told him her full name and her role as a princess. She had led her people in peace, not war, but others had turned her into a symbol of power. She had no choice when they put her into sleep. Alex told her he was a pilot, but before that, he had worked on old ships back on Earth. He said fixing things was what he loved. He promised to fix the shuttle. They began gathering tools and wires from nearby rooms. Some were full of dust and broken metal. Others had lights still glowing after all this time. As they worked, Alex taught Lyra how to use some of the tools. She learned quickly and helped repair the ship's panels. Hours passed. Alex and Lyra moved as a team. They shared water, food packs, and small jokes. The station still groaned above them, but they pushed on. Then they heard a sound. It was a low hum at first, then louder. Alex looked around. Machines were moving. From a dark tunnel, flying drones came toward them. They were old security bots, but still active. Lyra's eyes widened. She said the drones were part of the station's defense system. They would see both of them as enemies. Alex pulled his weapon. Lyra raised her hands, trying to block them with energy, but she was still weak. They ran through the hallway. Alex turned and fired at one drone. Sparks flew as it crashed. Lyra pushed open a door and they slipped inside a storage room. They caught their breath. Alex looked at Lyra. He said they could not stay still. The drones would find them again. Lyra nodded. They needed a better plan. They decided to split up for a short time. Alex would go find power cells, and Lyra would search for a safe path back to the docking bay. They used small devices to stay in contact. Alex moved fast, found a control room with glowing screens. He pulled out a working power cell and smiled. Then he heard metal footsteps behind him. He turned and saw a drone charging, dropped low and fired once. The drone fell, but the sound echoed down the hall. Lyra found an old lift and used it to reach a different level. She passed through a hall filled with murals. They showed her people, her culture, and a history she had almost forgotten. She touched the wall and whispered something in her language. When they met again, both looked tired but happy to see each other. Alex had the cell. Lyra had found a clear path back. Together, they returned to the shuttle. They worked through the night. Lyra held the light while Alex fixed the power lines. He showed her where to press and when to stop. At one point, their hands touched. They paused, looking at each other. No words were needed. The shuttle lights turned on. Engine made a soft sound. It was not ready to fly yet, but it was alive. They sat together, leaning against the wall. Stars shone through the small window. Lyra said she never thought she would wake again, and now she was sitting beside someone who made her feel safe. Alex smiled. He said they were not done yet, but they were getting closer. The fight was not over, but they had each other. Outside, more drones woke from sleep. Deep inside the station, a new danger was about to rise. Alex and Lyra stood beside the shuttle. The lights were on, but the engine was still weak. They needed one more power core to lift off. The station was shaking more with each hour. Something deeper inside was making the damage worse. Alex said he had seen a locked section during his search. It was marked as Central Vault. If there was another core, it would be there. Lyra agreed to go with him. They packed tools and light gear. She placed a hand on the shuttle as if to promise she would return. The path to the vault was long and quiet. The broken lights blinked above them. The walls were cracked. In some places, fires burned behind glass panels. Lyra said the station was alive in a way. It was trying to heal itself, but it was too old. They reached a large door. It had strong locks and a control pad with ancient writing. Lyra stepped forward. Her fingers moved over the pad. She remembered the symbols. After a moment, the door opened slowly. Inside the vault was a small room with machines lining the walls. A bright crystal floated above a metal base. It was a power core, but next to it was a screen. It turned on when they entered. The screen showed images. They were not just pictures, but memories. Lyra saw her past. She saw scientists placing her in the chamber. She saw soldiers outside speaking in fear. Then a voice spoke from the screen. It said Lyra was made to be a weapon. Her mind had been changed to use psychic power. She had not been just a princess. She had been trained to destroy enemy fleets with her thoughts. Her people feared what she might become, so they hid her away. Lyra stepped back. Her hands shook. She looked at Alex. Her voice was low. She asked if he was afraid of her. He looked at her and said no. He said she had a choice now. She was not the past. She was here with him, helping, saving, trying to live. Tears filled her eyes, but she wiped them away. She walked to the core and lifted it. It glowed in her hands. The screen faded to black. As they left the vault, the ground shook hard. A voice rang through the station. It was not human. It said the station was now in full lockdown. Self-destruct had been activated. Alex guessed the system saw them as threats. They ran. Lights turned red. Metal doors closed behind them. They slid under one just in time. Drones swarmed again. Alex fired his weapon, clearing a path. Lyra used her power without fear this time. She pushed drones aside with waves of energy. They reached the shuttle and placed the core into the engine. The ship came alive. Systems lit up. The engines hummed. Alex jumped into the pilot's seat. Lyra sat beside him. He looked at her and asked if she was ready. She nodded. The shuttle rose from the floor just as the ceiling collapsed. Fire and metal fell around them. They flew through the open hangar doors. Behind them, the station exploded in bright light. Silence followed. The stars returned. The shuttle floated above the remains. Alex set the ship on autopilot. They were safe, at least for now. Lyra sat quietly looking at the stars. She asked what would happen next. Alex said they had a beacon working. Help might come in days or weeks. She asked if Earth was far. He said yes, but not too far to reach. She smiled. Her past was broken, but her future was not. They sat side by side, not speaking. The quiet, their bond grew stronger. Two lives from two worlds, joined by danger and hope. And somewhere far away, a signal from their ship blinked through the dark, waiting to be found. The shuttle floated in space, far from any planet or station. Stars outside were still, but danger was not over.
Alex checked the ship's systems.
The engines were running, and the power was steady, but the air supply was low. The food packs would only last for a few days. Lyra looked out the window. The light of the broken station still glowed behind them. She said the past was gone now. There was no more hiding. She was ready to face what came next. A sudden sound came from the control screen. A warning message flashed. Alex read it aloud. Something had followed them. It was not a drone this time. It was a large ship, old and damaged, but still active. It came from the same time as the station. Lyra said it was one of the ancient guardian ships. It had been programmed to protect her people. Now, it saw the shuttle as a threat. The ship locked a target on them. Alex tried to change course, but the shuttle was slow. The old engines could not outrun the enemy ship. Lyra said there was only one way. She would have to stop it. Alex looked at her. He said she did not have to fight. She looked back at him and said she had to try. She could not run forever. She stood near the front window, her eyes closed. Soft light formed around her. Her hands rose. The energy moved from her body to the air around the ship. Alex watched as the space outside changed. The enemy ship began to slow. Its lights blinked in confusion, but it did not stop. A beam fired toward them. Alex moved fast and turned the shuttle. The beam missed, but shook them hard. Lyra cried out. The light around her grew brighter. She focused harder. The enemy ship started to crack. Its engines failed. A loud blast followed. The ship broke into pieces. Lyra fell to the floor. Alex rushed to her side. Her breathing was slow. He helped her sit up. She said she was fine, just tired. He smiled and told her she saved them. The shuttle floated in silence again. But now, a new problem came. The last attack had damaged part of the shuttle. One side of the ship was leaking heat. If they did not fix it, the cold of space would freeze the systems. Alex grabbed his tools. He opened a panel and saw broken wires and cracked metal. He asked Lyra to rest while he worked. She nodded and leaned back in her seat. As he repaired the system, he thought about all that had happened. He had come to check a strange signal and now was floating in space with someone who had lived before his time. Someone strong and kind, someone who had become more than a mission partner. Lyra watched him work. She thought about how she had feared waking alone. But Alex had been there. He had not judged her for what she was. He had listened, helped, and stayed. Hours passed. The ship grew warmer again. The lights turned green. Alex finished the last wire and sat beside her. They shared a small meal and talked about nothing serious. They laughed, even if just for a moment. Then, a soft beep came from the control panel. A signal was coming in. It was weak, but it was from a human rescue ship. Alex opened the channel. A calm voice answered. Help was on the way. It would arrive in 2 days. Lyra smiled. She asked what Earth was like. Alex said it was loud, full of people, but also full of green lands and clear skies. She said she would like to see it. They looked at the star map. Small dots showed Earth's location. It was far, but now closer than ever. As they drifted, They both knew their journey had changed them. They'd come from different worlds, but now shared one path. The stars outside stayed quiet. Inside the shuttle, two souls rested, waiting for the light of rescue to find them. The stars looked brighter now. The small shuttle floated in silence. Inside, Alex and Lyra sat near the front window. The rescue signal had been confirmed. Help would arrive soon. But the wait felt long. Lyra asked Alex if Earth would accept her. She was not human. She had powers and a history that many might not understand. Alex looked at her and said he could not speak for the whole planet. But he knew one thing. She had saved his life. She had shown courage. That meant something. She gave a small nod. Her hands rested on her lap. She had spent so much of her life asleep. She was awake, but the future was unknown. Still, it was better than the empty sleep of the past. They talked to pass the time. Alex told her stories from his childhood. He spoke of summer rain, his first flight test, and the small town where he grew up. Lyra listened closely. Her world had been full of rules and duty. She had never known simple days, but she liked hearing about his life. Lyra shared her memories too. She had once walked through gardens filled with blue fireflowers. Her palace had towers that reached the clouds, but she had always felt like a guest in her own world. Her people had seen her as a symbol, not a person. Alex reminded her she was more than that now. The shuttle shook a little. The temperature inside changed. Alex checked the systems. The fuel line had cracked. It was small, but they needed to fix it. If the leak spread, the ship could lose control. Alex pulled out his tools again. Lyra asked if she could help. He smiled and said yes. They worked together, just as they had before. She held the light while he patched the line. It took time, but they fixed it. The systems turned stable again. They sat back down. Outside, a small light appeared in the distance. It was not a star. It was the rescue ship. Alex sent a signal. The ship answered. They said they were locking on to their location. They would reach them in less than an hour. Lyra stood up and looked at the window. Her reflection stared back. She looked different now, not in body, but in spirit. She was no longer just a survivor. She had made choices. She had protected someone. She had fought for her own future. The rescue ship came closer. It was large and white, with a blue light at the front. Alex guided the shuttle closer. A docking tunnel connected them. The doors opened. Two humans in spacesuits stepped in. They looked surprised to see Lyra, but they did not raise their weapons. One of them asked if she was with Alex. He said yes. They were taken to the rescue ship. The inside was clean and full of light. Lyra looked around with wide eyes. Everything felt new. Alex stayed close. He made sure she was safe. The captain of the rescue ship came to speak with them. He asked what had happened. Alex gave a short report. He told the truth. He said the station had crashed, the drones had attacked, and Lyra had helped stop it all. He said she had saved them both. The captain looked at Lyra and nodded. He said Earth would want to hear her story. Lyra and Alex were given rooms. As the ship moved toward Earth, they had time to rest. They met in the dining room sometimes. They talked, ate, and watched space pass by through the windows. One night, Alex asked her what she wanted to do on Earth. She said she wanted to walk through real gardens, see the oceans, and maybe learn to fly a ship like his. He laughed and said he would teach her. When Earth came into view, Lyra stood beside Alex. The planet was blue and green, full of life. She felt nervous, but not afraid. Alex turned to her and said, "Welcome to my world." She looked at him and said, "Thank you for not leaving me." As the ship entered Earth's orbit, Lyra knew this was not the end. It was a new beginning. Together, they stepped into the light of a new world, ready to face whatever came next.